Okay, here we are back in Orion, a sci-fi visual novel. We are now on Issaku's route, and in order to do his, you just have to follow most of Mari's route until you reach this point. In which case, you have to choose Trust Her, and then you'll get the choice to jump onto a different route. Now, you've already seen all of this and all the choices leading up to this. From here, you have to refuse to help.
I'm... I'm sorry. I just can't risk it.
I take a step back, worry filling my soul once more. And we're now on Isaku's route. We're going for his bad
I don't
at
know what to
first.
say.
I want to go home. This stuff is too dangerous.
And that's not even close to what it says here.
This is the only way to stop that very home from being destroyed.
I refuse to believe that.
Please, remain calm.
No, I didn't ask for this ability. I didn't ask to run into fucking revolutionaries. Please, just let me get out of this place.
There's a shift in movement behind me as Mari grabs my shoulder before I can turn around.
Do it, Mari.
I feel something prick my neck, then everything goes dark. Chapter 3. The light in this area is different. That's as much as I'm able to make out in this position. I don't know what exactly has happened, just the feeling of something being pressed against my neck. I feel so drowsy. The light finally gets in my eye and I lift my head up to catch a glimpse of where I am. I still have no clue what I'm looking at. I've never seen this place in my life. But why does it feel so familiar?
Be careful, Sam.
I hear a voice, but it's slowly drowned out by the other strange noises around me. As I slowly gain an understanding of where I am, I try to pull myself up, but my arms do nothing. I turn my head to the side and find that my hands are tied behind my back. Do these guys really think I'd put up much of a fight to begin with?
I'm sorry we had to bring you here like that, Sam. I would have preferred if you were willing to undergo our plan with Virgil. Alas, we've decided to take action without you.
My memory of the home of the revolutionaries comes back to my thoughts. Everything clicks, and I fully realize what's going on.
Why are you restraining me?
It's for your own sake. We couldn't let you leave home on your own. Someone from the government was likely still following you.
You don't have the right to keep me here.
You left us no choice. But don't worry, we won't harm you one bit.
I've already been taken to this place against my will. What do you mean you won't harm me?
Smack around a bit, you'll figure it out. I know my anger won't help the situation, but I can't hold back. They had asked me what I wanted to do, and I expected them to follow my wishes. Instead, they turned their backs on the one thing I thought they stood for.
I thought you were the people who are fighting for freedom in this world. There's no way I can trust you.
Unfortunately, trust isn't the issue. I know you won't go and tell people about us, but I can't say someone else won't find you and make you say it anyway.
I turn away from them, refusing to engage anymore in this stupid conversation. I'm frustrated and extremely let down by this whole thing. Luca always talked about unionism as the highest of ideals, as the one thing that could truly unite humanity around the collective good. I always harbored my doubts about the philosophy, yet I'm not conflicted more than I've ever... What? I'm not conflicted more than I've ever been before. The not part is throwing me off. I don't know. If they are the alternative, then what? What kind of society do they even offer? I'm exhausted from Cyrus, from Mari, from everyone.
Did you take Virgil too?
I ask, out of curiosity. They wanted to find out more on who sent him to me. I'd figured they'd want to do it on their own, even if I refused to help.
He's completely locked out of the system. We've tried everything, but he won't register on the pad when we use it.
And so, our hopes at finding our inside supporter is gone completely.
I feel sorry for you, huh? Is that it? I'm done with you.
If If that is your wish. Oh, but Sam, you'll have to remain here until our operation is complete. This has to go off without a single mistake.
Virgil wasn't working for them. That's rather strange. I never knew he'd be attached to helping me in such a way. I do my best to lean to the side, hoping I can see where they put the pad. Seems they put it in an area nearby, likely out of frustration. The pad is just an ordinary computer device without the Virgil program being operative.
Hey, Virgil? Are you awake over there?
No! I've died a horrible death, Sam! And you weren't there to save me! Oh, the tragedy!
He had it coming. Really.
Virgil?
Yes, I hear you, Sam, I hear you.
Why didn't you turn on for them?
I only turn on for special people.
Oh my god.
Yes, he swings that way. I can't believe I'm stuck in a tunnel with stupid revolutionaries and a computer that can't take anything seriously. I'm not close enough, but if I was, I would throw something at him.
Come on, Virgil, what's up?
There's some information that only you should be privy to. I'm not going to disclose sensitive details to those who aren't ready.
Aren't ready?
See, knowing every bit of information comes at a price. If I reveal too much, it could cause instability in the timeline. Thus, there are some secrets that must be held close to the chest. Ignore the fact that I don't actually have a chest.
Then just ignore Virgil completely, and you'll be in business.
Isn't there any way I can get out of here?
I pull against the restraints again, finding that they seem rather tight on my wrists.
The strength in your lower back should be back in a few hours. The binds on your legs look like they could easily be loosened.
I tilt my head down towards my ankles, analyzing those binds for the first time. I think Virgil's right. These weren't put on well at all. I suppose I can always try to use my time powers. Considering I haven't used them, I'd be afraid of messing something up. And for this option, you need to try to time jump. Still, I'm not sure what else I can do to get out of this terrible situation. I close my eyes, focus on my home. Before I can do anything else, I hear a complaint from my right.
Sam Acacius, what do you think you're doing, young man?
Leaving without you. I open my eyes a bit.
I was going to time jump back.
No. You're already weaker from that injection. Jump now, you're sure to mess something up.
Okay.
I don't think it'd be any worse than what he'd screw up on his own, naturally. Virgil's worried over nothing. A few hours pass, and I feel like my legs can finally move. I begin pulling at my feet, trying to get the restraint to loosen. The sound of footsteps make me stop, and I look forward. It's Issaku.
What do you want?
At first, he doesn't answer, deciding instead to sit down in front of me, just like he did back at the residence.
You're skeptical.
How'd you figure that?
He just continues to look at me, not holding a single sign of frustration. I'm mostly surprised. I don't know anyone who can stay this calm.
I didn't start this because I was interested in keeping people detained or hurting anyone.
I turn my eyes away from him, a silent protest against what he has to say.
The rules of Orion, though? That's what hurt.
I can't tell whether he's doing it purposely or not, but his tone makes me want to hear more. I always learned that revolutionary leaders had to have an intense amount of charisma to inspire their subordinates. It's difficult to understand what it really feels like until you're there, being the one spoken to.
I had a hard time working when I was a teenager, as did my parents. The medical technology here is great, but it still affected my say in the community.
He was, of course, referencing the way unionism allows votes to people. It's all predicated on the efficiency and output of your work. Luca would claim that in practice, people who had difficulty working wouldn't be sanctioned for that, as it wouldn't be their fault. What Issaku claims forces me to consider whether my brother was telling me the truth. So, what happened?
What happened?
He sighed, looking at me with an expression that expressed a sense of regret, though it was very hard to read him.
When my parents had demonstrated they weren't able to work on a consistent basis, the local officials quietly made light of it. Even though they weren't punished by law, the people of the community effectively banished them.
I look up, as it's impossible to feign my disinterest at what he now has to say. The people of Section 6 aren't as cohesive as a unionist ideology would suggest, but I've never suspected the inverse would be a type of group exclusion. That does sound terrible.
That's what this idea does to society, Sam. Even though they want us to unite people together, it only ends up ripping them apart at the seams.
I'll talk more about this later. There's a pause and the words sink into my thoughts, no matter how much I try to avoid it.
That's why we're doing this. It's for everyone's sake. To save Orion from itself.
He gets up, giving me a small smile before turning away. He's given me a great deal to think about, but I remember I still have these binds to get undone. It doesn't take long for me to remove the ones around my ankles. This allows me to stand up, where I look for a sharp surface to cut the ones on my wrists. I always imagined the revolutionaries were a large group, some secretive cabal that was spread throughout a vast part of the ship. It appears there's actually very few of them. Only a few who oppose the government to such an extreme.
Shit.
I hear footsteps nearby. There's no one watching me, but I know they're getting closer. This must be an easy area to meet in because of how large the space is. Their words are quiet, but a few things still stand out.
That's why the cache of weapons is so important. Just in case.
You're absolutely sure.
Anything and everything must be available to us. We can't expect the government to have restraint.
I'm not entirely sure what those words mean. I understand that they are willing to use weapons to hurt people deliberately. Even if it's people who work in the departments, those are regular civilians like anyone else. Issaku, did he lie to my face? For a second, I was convinced in everything he had to say. God, I wish my brother had been here to explain this to me. I don't know how to feel. I just know I have to get out. I find a sharp edge nearby. There's a great deal of them in this abandoned area. I carefully cut the bindings off my wrists. I rub the irritated skin, wincing quietly as my arms are now allowed to stretch. I sit back down, waiting for the voices to vanish at the other side of this place before I make a run for it. I don't know where I'll go, but I can't be an accomplice to these people's crimes. I'd likely run into Cyrus again. This is such a catch-22. We're gonna stay with rebels. I decide to wait this out. Who knows what their actual plan may be? It may not even involve hurting people. Issaku and Mari certainly don't seem capable of such violence. I'm still unsure. Whatever they ask of me, I think I'll be more than willing to take a try. Chapter 4. Here comes our finale. The next day, some of the members of Issaku's revolutionary group... That's not a sentence. They tell me they will, in fact, use me.
It is theoretically possible that if you use your time jump abilities while within the PAX game system, you will be able to disrupt the government's central computers.
What would that accomplish?
It'd give us a chance to broadcast the information we need to without undue interference.
With the current setup, they control all of the channels of communication throughout the entire ship. This is the only way we can make ourselves known. Out in violence.
It seems highly unlikely that simply explaining their case to the people would actually inspire change. They aren't the first people to oppose unionism, just the first to do so on such a consistent and dedicated basis. However, were they to use the reset system as a vehicle for announcing the planned destruction of Section 6, they might actually be able to galvanize support among the people. It's difficult to tell as the sections of Orion are diverse in ideology. You have some that strongly support unionism, like Section 1, and others that are incredibly lax on the policy, like my own home.
This won't work.
All we need is a shock, a catalyzing event. We can handle things from there.
Issaku always appears confident about his strategies, even this. I'm still not sure whether I should be as well. If anything, the chances that something goes wrong are incredibly high. I haven't used my powers yet, and Cyrus mentioned it can be damaging to one's mind and body.
Why should I help you? You don't even trust me enough to keep me out of these restraints.
Our inclinations about you proved right, Sam. You tried to get out.
Because you captured me.
Enough. Sam, we're bringing you into the pack system.
How is this even possible when there's not even an active game going on?
We have technology that'll enable us to trick the system into believing we require a high-functioning server. That'll buy us a direct connection to the central computers.
These guys have already said they'd be willing to do anything in pursuit of their aims. How can I trust that their alternative view of society would be any better than what we have now? They're clearly a dedicated group of people, but their tactics make me uncomfortable. They didn't have to force me here to get their way. Maybe if they told me all this up front, I wouldn't have been so confrontational from the get-go. Yet I can't shake my head that there's something terrible going on with the actual government. Do I take the chance that these people know what they're doing, or hope that the message I receive from Virgil is some incorrect information?
I thought only a handful of people could enter a PAX field at the same time.
That's right. It'll just be you and I, Sam.
What?
The rest of us will use the cover your actions create to set up our own counter system of information control.
There will still be guards everywhere.
That may be so, but without the ability to communicate amongst each other, any coordinated attack against us will fail.
He talks as if he has a 1,000-person army just ready to go at his command, but I've only seen the smallest handful of people in this place. Is his talk just bluster, or does he actually really have something under his sleeves?
Get him and bring him over to the hookup site.
Mari walks over and takes the binds off around my feet, while keeping the ones that hold my arms behind my back. I make her practically drag me in order to get me to move, which elicits an elbow.
How?
The walk isn't long to the other part of the same tunnel area. They remove the binds on my hands, but quickly place the PAX connection device on me.
You can do whatever you want in there, Sam. There's only so much Mari can force out of you.
She's a violent date, eh? I glare at him, disgusted with his joke.
But listen closely. If you've ever wanted a chance in this world, no matter how big or small, it will never, ever come with our current system. Surely, you must understand that.
I don't answer, crossing my arms now that I have access to use them.
For everyone, do what's right.
Okay, my voice is starting to reach its limits, sadly. Almost as soon as he's done talking, I find myself in the PAX field. It's an incredibly strange place, something I've never actually seen in person, or I guess with my mind since it's not a physical place. They indicated that the setup we'd be placed in would be automatically primed to give us a top rating, and trick the system into letting us have close access to central computers. All I have to do, they said, was use my ability in the game, and be sufficient to damage everything.
You have to do it, or everything will be off.
I still have no clue whether I can trust you. Especially after everything you've done.
Everything we've done, we're the only ones fighting for a better future. Everyone. Don't you care about your family, Sam? They'll all die if we don't stop the protocol from being activated. And it won't happen just because we wish it.
I...
You're the only one who can do this. Please, let's change everything.
She's both right and wrong. My brother will die if the protocol isn't disengaged, but that requires the use of ability I can't control. Not to mention, if these revolutionaries are the future, I don't know whether it'd be a bright one. These are values I've never had to weigh before, considerations no teenager should ever be required to face. And yet I'm here. It is my decision. I have to make it a good one. Powers go. This is the hardest decision of my entire life. I don't know the consequences of my actions, but I do know what will happen if I do nothing. Mari is right. There's only one way to ensure my home, my brother, everything I care about is protected. I be the one to try this, no matter the cost. I close my eyes, focusing as hard as I can. I've never used this power, so I don't know how to activate it, but something instinctively tells me I can do it if I put every ounce of willpower into my action. Slowly, I feel the Pax field around me begin to warp. What is the effect of such an action inside a computer system? It appears that everything's dissolving. This is the outcome they said would happen, right? This is the destruction of the old system in favor of a new one. Everything hurts and, oh god, a terrible pain begins to fill my entire body. It's as if my body is pierced with a million needles. My bones are crushed under the weight of the growing pressure and I'm not sure if I can breathe. Why is this? What's going on? I don't know how long it's been. It's impossible to count the days inside something where the sun is never seen. And yet, I have the feeling that I've been here for a long time. It doesn't matter what I try. I cannot remove myself from this error in the system. I don't know what the effect has had on my physical body, but my mind is locked here. No PAX games ever take place in this area. I don't know where Mari went, or whether she can see me, but is just stuck in another glitch. I don't even know whether the stupid plan by the rebels worked or not. All I can see is endless binary, floating on the current of nothingness.
Help! Please! Someone! Can anyone hear me?
Silence. Why do I bother?
Please! Please!
Okay, now I'm going to jump to the good ending, but I'm going to get something to drink first, so I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I waited a little while to try to get my voice back, and it's time to get the good ending. So there's going to be a few scenes we can skip, such as the whole trust Mari thing. But we still have to refuse to help. Wait to remove restraints. Yeah, it's probably best I just wait until my strength's back and I can remove the restraints. That doesn't make it any more enjoyable to be waiting here, though. A few hours pass and I feel like my legs can finally move. I begin pulling on my feet, trying to get the restraint to loosen. There's a sound of footsteps that make you stop and I look forward. It's Issaku, so we're gonna have a little bit of deja vu here before we can go on the other route.
What do you want?
At first he doesn't answer, deciding instead to sit down in front of me like he did back at the residence.
You're skeptical.
How'd you figure that?
He just continues to look at me, not holding a single sign of frustration. Okay, let's skip forward. So we choose to refuse to talk here. I keep my eyes downward. He's keeping me here like a prisoner. Issaku doesn't deserve any of my attention.
When my parents had demonstrated they weren't able to work on a consistent basis, the local officials quietly made light of it. Even though they weren't punished by law, the people of the community effectively banished.
So this is text we've seen before. I'm not entirely sure where the decision point is, since some of these decisions look like they truly don't matter. I look up as it's impossible to feign my disinterest at what he now has to say. They're not cohesive. Sounds terrible.
That's what this idea does to societies.
I'm still going to talk about the whole unionism thing at the end of the video, though. There's a pause and the words sink into my thoughts, no matter how much I try to avoid it.
That's why we're doing this. It's for everyone's sake. To save Orion from itself.
He gets up, giving me a small smile before turning away. It's given me a great deal to think about, but I remember I still have these binds to get undone. It doesn't take long for me to remove the ones around my ankles. This allows me to stand up, where I look for a sharp surface to cut the ones on my wrists. Yeah.
Shit.
Okay, we're skipping forward. So here we have to make a run for it. These people are crazy. Even if their end plan is okay, it's too risky to be among these people. That's what I told them before, and that's what I tell them again. I get up and begin to run across the space as quickly as I can. My heart pounds in my chest. My breathing is uneven, but I try to keep it under control. I have no idea where I'm going, but it's away from them. A realization hits me. Virgil was left behind. I turn around immediately, hoping I haven't lost any time.
Ow!
I fall on my back, realizing that I just ran into someone. It's Mari.
Now just where the hell do you think you are going?
To pick up a pizza. You want one? She grabs me by the arm and walks me right back to where I began. New, metallic binds are placed around my ankles. I should have just accepted the slap she gave me back home and never spoken to her again. And we still have that sentence fragment. They'll use me.
It is theoretically possible.
And in the end, we have to continue to refuse them.
No, this isn't right.
Sam!
I won't use something I don't have any control of.
You're throwing everything away.
She runs over to me, as if inspired by an energy that I've never seen in a human being. The fierce look in her eyes fades into something that looks more desperate. Mari grabs me by the shoulders, grip tight, but I stand there and simply watch her.
Mari, they succeed on their own. It'd be more preferable than the entire system being shut down.
You have to do something, Sam. Please.
It's too late in my mind to act. I've already made up my mind. The PAX field is desolate without any action, no matches or opponents. It's incredibly strange, like an ocean of passivity that's just aching for the chance for something to happen. I guess that describes the revolutionaries well. They know exactly what they want in mind, but how to pursue it, how to actually reach that goal, and it's extraordinarily unclear. Her grip tightens on my shoulders as she leans closer. I don't know what to do. And the way she looks right there reminds me of April O'Neil from the old Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles stuff. Down to the whole yellow thing with the collar up. I can hear her making soft sounds as if she's crying. Is this even the same person I saw moments before shouting at me? Why does this mean so much to her?
Are you alright?
Ooh, bad move, Sam. She presses her face into my chest, unwilling to answer. I think she believes everything is over. That all she's planned for has been for nothing. I hope she's wrong.
Family out there?
It's hard to answer, especially when I know she already has what I'm going to say in mind. And yet, I feel obligated by her actions to do so anyway.
Luca's the only family I have. I'm not willing to risk my own death for something I don't yet understand. I simply can't.
She says nothing. She says nothing even as we're pulled out of the PAX game. Even as we hear the news that something happened in one of the government council chambers that day. A confluence of events managed to result in a change in leadership. I don't know whether this means the destruction of Section 6 is delayed or wiped away completely, but I do know one thing. I didn't let myself be a pawn in someone else's game. For once, I stood strong on my own.
It's an important lesson, no doubt, but not the one you need.
How harsh, Virgil.
Virgil, you've said something similar before.
And you may yet hear it again and again.
And that's the good end. So we're gonna get one last line. I'm not sure from who, though.
I love you so much.
It was Luca. So about the unionism thing. I mentioned I'd talk about it, and there are a couple things to actually go over real quick. First of which is the guy is named Issaku, a Japanese-sounding name. And if you look at the guy, I would not use Japanese in probably like the top 20 words to describe him. So, the whole unionism thing, I believe, is a reference to Japanese culture. For those that aren't aware, the culture pretty much revolves around the good of the whole, taking priority over the good of the individual. The individual sacrifice, etc., etc., stuff like that. And as a result, the way the whole behaves, they actually do pull crap like that, such as social exclusion, and technically worse as things escalate. That's a good word for it. And, well, they have quite a few problems over there these days, and, well, I'm wondering if the reason why this subject is even brought up is maybe to generate some interest into people to look up the various problems. But that's pretty much what I wanted to say about unionism. It's potentially a reference to Japan, especially with a blonde guy having a Japanese name. And the problems that he mentions are commonplace problems there. For those that follow anime that may be interested in this game, which, let's face it, is pretty likely, you might already be aware of some of the problems they pop up in anime here and there, especially slice of life stuff. So if you're more interested, go ahead and check it out. Otherwise, if you're already familiar with the subject, you probably got the reference before I went ahead and pointed it out. But anyway, that concludes Issaku's route. The only thing left is the true ending, which is on my to-do list. I'm not going to be able to do it right now because I don't know how long it is. I imagine it's probably the longest of the endings, and I don't have enough strength just yet. This will probably come out on the next weekend. Really depends on when I find some time to record. But anyway, that's it for now. The Hero of Light. Thanks for watching.